What's up, gang?
Well played.
It's a terrible joke.
Yeah.
I'm here with Tom today. Founded Under the Trees, musical artist, DJ, you name it, doing all the things. Welcome.
Yep.
Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Heck yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Good deal. Well, I want to start with Under the Trees.
Yeah.
Describe Under the Trees in a nutshell.
Yeah. It's a big nutshell. So let me get at that a little bit. So I actually moved here from Montreal, Canada. And in Montreal, we had something called Picnic Electronic. And basically, they had this island that they built using all the dirt from the subway that they built. So they took all the dirt, they built the subway, took all the dirt, and built an island next to Montreal. And on that island, they had the Expo 57, I believe, or maybe it was 67. Anyway, it's like a world fair. And many, many years later, they turned it into a festival grounds. And then every Sunday during the summer, they would have a 2-stage EDM festival, basically. And they would pull in big acts like Ajuna Deep and locals and everything else. And so I would go every Sunday, and I absolutely loved it. And then during the winter, they had Igloo Fest, which
Sick.
was insane because it was -20, and people would still go out, and they bring in big artists, and it was in the old port of Montreal. And so anyway, I got a job here. I moved here because I got a job as a professor of music at the College of Idaho, and I wanted more EDM. And the first thing I saw when I came here was the beautiful parks. I mean, Boise is just unbelievably gorgeous. I mean, the parks are stunning. And so I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool to have something like Picnic Electronic in Boise? And so then I started Under the Trees. And the goal has always been to build towards a kind of a reoccurring festival, but Under the Trees blew up way faster than I thought. So we had our first park party was probably 5 to 10 times bigger than I thought it would be. And actually, not many people know it, but Brian was at the very first sound check.
Let's go.
And we had 2 subs and 2 tops, and I remember some sound engineers being like, "You're going to need a lot more than this." And I was like, "Well, this is what we have." And then literally 2 weeks later, we had a massive rig that we found, and it became 300 people at the park. It was just huge. And so that first event made it clear to me that Boise needed something like that or wanted something like that. And so then we started doing park parties, and then it grew beyond that. So we did kind of pop-ups in a warehouse and in a cathedral, which was Trica, and then just different parts throughout the city. We did the Cuna Castle, and then we've done the Old Idaho Penitentiary, which we're doing again in August, and just really special kind of historic places within Boise. We pop up, bring a show, so it's a secret location beforehand. So it kind of harkens back to the old days. And actually, that started for me during the pandemic because in Montreal, everything got shut down. So all the clubs got shut down. Basically, my social life got shut down. And then what happened is during the summers, people started to kind of host pop-ups outdoors in the mountains. And they would be secret locations, and they eventually got more and more remote as the cops would shut them down. But I was so drawn to this idea of trying to find a secret party in the secret location, and like, where is it? And then you walk through the woods, and you're like, I have no idea where I am and if I'm going to get there. And so I kind of wanted to recreate that feeling of wonder and surprise that you get when you go to a secret location party.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so cool. You brought the culture over there, and you've built something so great. I was just looking at your Instagram today, and 11,000 followers.
It's crazy.
2 summers, you've built that, and some of your events have been unreal. What have been some of your, I mean, you name dropped a few, but what have been some of your favorite events?
Well, I think our flagship event is the incarcerated event, which is at the Old Idaho Penitentiary. And that one's really special because there's only 4 penitentiaries open to the public in the United States, and Boise has one of them. And it's a historic prison. My tagline is once a place of incarceration, now a place of liberation.
There we go.
And that event is just unbelievable because it's actually on the prison grounds. And so the first time we threw it, everybody thought we were going to be in the botanical gardens or in the field next door. I was like, no, we're actually in the prison on the basketball court where they used to play. And then we set up a bar in the top security prison block. And so we had a full cocktail bar and a full-on concert. I might say rave. Some people have different ideas about what a rave means. And for me, a rave is just a gathering and dancing to electronic dance music and expressing yourself however you want to, wearing whatever kind of clothes you want. Um, so it's not drug oriented. It's not kind of illegal or anything. It's sanctioned, but it's still mysterious and kind of an insider feeling, and you kind of join a community when you go there. So that event was unbelievable. I mean, we sell out every year on that one, about 400 people.
Wow.
So this one's coming up in August. I encourage folks to get tickets. It's selling out faster every year. It's really crazy. The other event we did recently was on the Greenbelt at a place called Bluebird. So we're collaborating with them throughout the summer. So we're doing another one this Saturday on July 4th. That's going to be, last time they had over 2,000 unique people come through the venue. That was a phenomenal show. And then we'll be doing a Halloween event and then some other events. We were doing them twice a month, but honestly, I was working like 60, 70 hours a week on top of my regular job, just trying to, making calls, getting permits, organizing marketing teams and so forth. And so it was just too much. But now it's kind of like once every month, 2 months cadence.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think having a little bit of exclusivity won't water it down as much. I don't know if it was getting watered down at all, but spacing them out a little bit will have a little bit more.
Yeah, basic supply and demand and
yeah,
reducing and really, yeah, we don't have to throw them. It's not like a massive profit generator or anything. It's just, but I see people smiling and like the feeling that I get when I'm there and that other people get is hard to let go.
Yeah, that's awesome. And 60, 70 hours a week, obviously you're working hard.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you have
now
quite a few people helping out as well.
Yeah, now it's more reasonable. In the early days, when you start something, this, you gotta figure out who does sound, who does lighting, who does pictures. Like I moved here, I literally didn't know anybody. Actually, when I look back at it, I was like kind of crazy, like a little bit delusional. Like I didn't have any DJ equipment. I didn't have any knowledge of the city permitting process. I didn't know where I could throw events. I didn't have access to speakers. I didn't have lights. I knew like some of my colleagues at the College of Idaho. I didn't really know all the DJs. I didn't know anything. And I just thought this has to happen. And I started an Instagram account. I did know some things though. I had studied a lot of how these kind of movements started in Montreal. I actually started a project up there called MTL Electronic Music. And so I studied how collectives grew, how clubs promoted themselves, how DJs promoted themselves. And so I had watched that for several years while I was in Montreal. And so I knew how to start something. And then I guess I just figured I'll figure it out. Like I'll rent sound somewhere. Like I'll get it or I'll buy it, or like I don't even know. But once the project started, people started to reach out. Like I do photography. Oh, great, come over. I do. I have a big sound rig. I have lighting. I have this. It's like okay, let's. And so I collected all the people, and that takes an enormous amount of time to just get contacts and pull people together to create something like that. That was the hardest part for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a great testament to like anyone who is thinking about starting some sort of event or some sort of business of their own. It's like imperfect action is so much better than inaction.
Absolutely.
Like you're like, I don't know how this is going to happen,
right.
but I know it has to happen. And just taking the first step of making Instagram and putting something out into the world like, hey, who wants to be a part of this?
Yeah.
And I think it is surprising to people, like you will get feedback if you just blast things out into the world. It's like somebody will want to help you. Somebody might have a similar idea and it's like, oh, this guy's onto something. I'm with him. And it seems like that worked out.
It was really interesting. I mean, Boise is a small but big place. Sometimes it feels big and it's like there's a world of opportunity. And then there are other times, I remember in the early days when I started the account, I got some messages from other promoters and they're like, who are you? Are you this guy, or this guy? And I'm like, no, I'm totally new. I'm like, none of those. And they're like, oh, really? Like, what is this about?
Mm-hmm.
And so at first I think I was very non-threatening. It was just like, okay, let's rally around this project, And then over time, some people might have seen it as a threat to them, or it becomes, you become integrated into the system, and then it's competition, and then and so forth. But I think we're in a really positive space right now.
That's good.
Yeah,
I like it. You touched earlier a bit on rave culture, right?
Yeah.
If I tell my parents I'm going to a rave, they think I'm going to go to some
Right.
freaking cave in the middle of nowhere and do a bunch of ecstasy and hang out all night, which it's not that.
Right.
Right. And I think about kind of some things that you did to preface that, especially with like your branding? It's very welcoming, very inviting. Under the trees,
Yeah.
come hang out. We're gonna have a concert in the park.
Yep.
Bring your kids.
Exactly. Yeah.
And just in my experience, so with my gym, CrossFit Casual, CrossFit has kind of this stigma that you have to be freaking ripped or like a beast to come and do CrossFit, and people are like, oh, I'm not fit enough to do CrossFit. It's like, no, that's not the case. Like, we're CrossFit Casual. Like, it's chill, it's mellow. You can come and just work out. You don't have to be crazy in shape to do it. And thinking about your brand, you kind of did the same thing with Under the Trees. Like, if you gave it a name like Park Parties or like something rave, you know, people might be like, oh, I'm cool. But I think you've created a welcoming brand, which has brought people in. What's the community of Under the Trees like?
That's a great point. So Under the Trees has two things. Number one, the city of trees, and so I wanted it to be tied intrinsically to the Boise culture. That, I mean, there's a love for nature in the trees. Boise is le boisé, which is French for the woodland. So the French fur trappers apparently discovered a bunch of trees and like, oh, le boisé.
I didn't even know that. That's cool.
And so there's that element, and then under is an allusion to underground, and so kind of artists that are not necessarily known, and so there's an underground movement, but it's underneath the trees, so it's kind of this. It just felt right, and you know, one of my actually the things I'm most proud about is that Under the Trees won a Catalyst grant from the city of Boise, and that was when we first started. They didn't do it last year because I guess they got funding cut or something. But the premise of that grant was that there's a lot of young families here. Actually, the fertility rate in Idaho is apparently like the 11th largest in the United States. So, and most people are having kids between 20 and 30. And so when you have young kids, it's really hard to make it to the club because you might want to dance and so forth. And so I thought, what if people brought their kids to the show? I mean, why not? It's in the park. Like, it's very non-threatening. It's, you know, if you don't like who you're dancing around, you just move. If you want to play Frisbee, you can. Like, if you want to, whatever. Like, you're in the park. You already like to hang out in the park. Let's add music to that. And so that's something that's been really exciting. People bring their kids and, you know, with the baby headphones. And I've literally seen from like maybe 1 to 80 in terms of the age at Under the Trees. And I'm really proud about that. And I think it's sort of changed the stigma around EDM and rave culture in general. I know that in Montreal, they had a very live electronic music scene. It was just like a normal thing that you did. And then here, I remember I said, I'm going to throw a rave in the park. And they're like, you're going to do what? And
you were talking to the city, telling them that?
Yeah, and I talked to the police and stuff, and everyone was very kind of like apprehensive. You know, it's like, we're not trying to do this drug infested thing. I'm like, oh no, like, I'm a professor of music here. I'm not trying to throw an illegal drug ring or something. You know, like, I'm not doing any of that. And so, but it took a little bit of throwing these events. I mean, people had to give me trust. I mean, I think that they probably thought, okay, yeah, he's a professor. Like, let's try it out, you know, like at the penitentiary, for example. I was like, okay, what are you going to do here? This is crazy. And then it worked. And they saw the crowd. They saw how friendly people were. They saw how it was kind of mixed ages. Now the penitentiary is 21 plus because of alcohol laws. But in general, everyone looked at it and thought, wow, actually, this is a really positive thing. It's bringing people together, you know, from their phones to the public parks to dance together. People are making friends. They're cross-generational. And so I think it's really changed the perception of EDM. And the word rave is still fraught with its generational meanings. I mean, I think the generation before me looks at that word with a very particular meaning. We might look at it differently. I think the generation that's younger than me sees it, you know, as kind of like freedom of expression, and I don't know if they associate drugs at all with it. And so it's a fraught word. I think it's a productive word because it kind of, well, it's at least productive for social media.
Yes.
But it's less productive for people with money and investors. And so I'm trying to figure out how to market this stuff. And so we do like EDM pop-up is kind of the word I'm using now, but you know, that's different than rave. Like, rave communicates a lot, maybe too much sometimes.
Yeah, I hear what you mean. That's hard to try and like word shop these things to make them sound good to people who might invest. That's tough.
Yeah.
Man, I remember my first time going to a festival,
Mm-hmm.
and I like how you said people can come in and express themselves. That's what it's all about. And
Yeah.
I still remember going there. Like I had been to a few little raves here and there
Mm-hmm.
around town, but going to my first like overnight festival, Beyond Wonderland at the Gorge,
Yeah.
and complete culture shock. Like in there, and in the best way. I'm getting little
Yeah.
butterflies thinking about it. But it's like you literally get to choose your avatar. You can wear whatever you want.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Wear whatever you want. People have, you can like, I thought of it like a video game.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
like equip
That's
yourself with,
good.
people are juggling the glow balls, or, people are swinging the poi around, or
Yeah.
is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think
Poi?
so.
But people have all sorts of stuff. There's people like spinning the towels, and man, it was just so cool. And
Mm-hmm.
you literally just get to like disconnect from this like concept of society that we have, where we have to,
Yeah.
obey these unspoken rules and go and do this and go and do that because that's
Mhm.
what we're supposed to do. But
Right,
at the
yeah.
rave, it's you can just let loose, dude. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best.
It's a special place, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's cool you're getting that out to the masses, and
Mhm.
like, I bet your event, or one of your events have been some of the first times that people have even been to a rave or even listened to house
yeah.
music or whatever it is, and they're like, wait, this is actually kind of cool. Like I
Yeah.
actually like this.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a great gateway just for them to maybe express themselves in ways that they never have before.
I totally agree. And even within electronic dance music, when people say, I don't like EDM, it's like, oh, what are you talking about?
You don't like
which, yeah, I'm like,
EDM?
that's massive. Yeah, like, I mean, we have so many subgenres. I mean, there's like 200 subgenres and so many different styles of EDM and so forth. So, like, what are you even talking about? It's like, this is a massive, like, that's how most music is produced today. And so, yeah, that's been kind of fun too. When people they're like, man, I didn't know I love this. Like, where can I get more of it? And so then they go to Space Banana or the Space, and now there's a whole scene around it in Boise. And not to say that there wasn't, before Under the Trees, but I think it's progressed pretty fast, and the growth has been pretty tremendous in the last 2 years since I've been here, at least from what I can tell.
I think so. I think Under the Trees has been a catalyst to help places like Space Banana, who maybe people were like, "Oh, what is Space Banana?" Or what is like a true dance club? Because we have the downtown scene, but
Right.
none of it is like true. None of it's true EDM, like true
Right.
dance culture.
Yeah, exactly.
They're very commercialized.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so where do you see the growth? I mean, obviously we have Space Banana, which
Mhm.
is the local. What do they even call it? A mini club.
Yeah, so Space Banana, so I help out at Space Banana because, I mean, fundamentally, I'm interested in this electronic music scene
Mm-hmm.
writ large. And so Space Banana is interesting. I mean, Space Banana is, I assist with sort of the creative direction and so forth. And Space Banana's culture is massive. Like its online presence is huge. Its outreach is huge, but it's the smallest nightclub by far in Boise. So it's like this. I consider it like the smallest, biggest club, and it feels when you're in there and nobody's there. It's like, wow, this is so small. I'm like in a shoebox, and then all of a sudden, when you have 100 people there, it's like, oh my god, this is massive. Like this feels so exciting, and the energy is so incredible. But they've expanded. We've expanded into the Space, and so there's now Space Banana, and then the Space, which is connected by a hallway. And so those sometimes run at the same time, sometimes it's just the afters. But I mean, when I got to Boise, most of the EDM events were at Shreveport Music Hall or the Knitting Factory, and it was like a big act. And so then, you would go, and then I'm like, well, where do I go to listen to house? And then Space Banana opened, and that worked for a while, and then some issues and blah, blah, blah. It changed fundamentally the way its business operated, which I had a big role in. And then now I remember Under the Trees had an after party there, and it was absolutely bonkers, crazy. and I remember telling people like, yeah, we're gonna go to like 5 a.m. And then because that's what Montreal did. Like Montreal has clubs called Stereo. They would start at 12 and then go till 8 a.m. And
Wow.
yeah, and so they had Stereo Bar, which would be kind of like 11 to 1, and then you would go to Stereo Club, which would be 1. 1 is when most people started to go. Some people would go to sleep and then like go to the club at like 3 or 4 a.m. And so in my head I was thinking like this is what we could do, and then everybody left at like 2:45, and I'm like, wait, what the heck? And so I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. There's actually not an afters culture in Boise yet. And so every under the trees, we started pushing afters, which was a logistical challenge to have to like figure out how to, tear down, but also get everybody going to another place. Like it was a real challenge. Um, but now actually every Friday and Saturday, Space Banana is crazy packed from 2 to 3:30, sometimes 4. And so there's an afters culture now, and actually the police in the city likes it because you can't serve alcohol after 2, so you can kind of dance it off,
Oh, yeah.
and kind of sober up a little bit. And then Ubers are super expensive at 2 o'clock, so might as well pay the cover at Space Banana to go dance, reduce, like, end your night on a positive note, right? And so I'm really excited about that, and I think that's just growing, as more people move in, and it's just gonna get bigger.
I love the pure like logical reasoning. Like, hey, I'm going to the afters. Uber's
Yeah.
gonna be cheaper.
Yeah.
I'm a little buzzed right now. I need to get back to 0.
Right.
And then I'll call it Uber or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, the space just opening up. That's pretty sweet. Do you
Yeah.
think? I mean, obviously they're gonna let that ride for a little bit, but do you see the possibility of like a true dance club, like a
Yes.
full-sized club coming to
Yeah.
Boise?
So they, as I understand it, both of them will be separate forever. So it'll be the Space Banana and then the Space,
Oh, okay.
conjoined by the hallway. And the nice thing about that is that it just gives you a lot of options. So the Space Banana, I mean, it's a real party in there when you get 60 people. It's super fun. And so to fill both spaces combined, that footprint suddenly makes Space Banana and the Space the biggest club in Boise. Which is very interesting. And so, but yeah, the Space has a really good sound system. It's a 360 stage, and it's got subs in every corner and tops. But we're gonna upgrade, and so we're gonna have the best sound system in Idaho, Pacific Northwest, and I mean it's gonna be a premium experience. And my model again is Montreal, like the Stereo Club. DJs want to play there. It's one of the best clubs in the world. It has a 360 setup, although the DJ's on a stage, but the sound is 360. And so that's what distinguishes it. I mean, Space Banana has a custom HSD Hennessy sound design, and it's powerful. It's a very powerful system, but it's also very crisp and clean. Like if you listen to some of the other clubs, they're boomy, and you'll feel the bass, but there's nothing like the crispness of the bass at Space Banana because those cabinets are more rigid. Everything's just structurally more refined, and so the sound is really hard to beat. And so the Space is going to have sort of the most premium, and Space Banana already has the best sound in the state as far as I'm concerned for a nightclub. So yeah, that's kind of like the direction it's headed.
Wow, that's cool. I think that is important that you have premium sound, especially in a place where like the music is the main event.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because when I used to play at certain places,
Yeah.
speakers would cut out.
Yeah.
Speakers were like so old, or like something would go wrong. The sub would blow out, and commonly I'd be trying to turn it up, and there'd be nothing.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Granted, at these bars that I was playing at, like the music wasn't the main event.
Yeah.
The socializing and the being around and being
Yeah.
out was the main event. But at somewhere where the music is the main event, it's got to be be up to par.
And when I first got here, I actually went to some of those clubs, and because I wanted to throw some events in them, and I said, "Hey, I'd like to bring in speakers and do it like X Y Z," and they were kind of like, "Yeah, we don't need that." And so I thought, okay, so you don't care about sound, so I can't work here, like because sound is everything for me. I mean, that's what I'm obsessed. So yeah, that was another thing I think that for me with Under the Trees was very important. I wanted to bring big sound systems so people could feel the bass, they could hear everything clearly. That was big for me because in Montreal, that's where I went, was who has the best sound system, because they had a ton of clubs, and so you pick the ones that leave a sonic, imprint in your mind.
100%. Yeah, you got to feel it. That's half the
Yeah.
experience. You got to let it pulse through you, and
Yeah.
you got to be a part of it. So,
Exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome. I know you said when you're trying to set up afters and kind of keep the party rolling and things, there were some logistical challenges.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've ran into a ton of bumps in the road, as anyone does when they're starting up a business.
Totally.
What have been some of like maybe the biggest challenges for you, and how have you overcome them and move forward?
Yeah. Well, I remember last year at the penitentiary event, So we had a record attendance, sold out, and I headlined that show. And I mean, I was looking out at this sea of people just dancing and smiling, expressing themselves, and I played an all original set, music I just made. I mean, it was like this felt like one of the highlights of my entire life. It felt absolutely incredible. I mean, it was just like, I can't believe that I'm doing this right now. Like, I can't believe we got to this stage. Like, our stage was very professional, lighting was professional. Like, everything about the event just was so professional. And then, so the event ends, and you get a kind of this high after a performance. It's just tremendous, and everyone's going to the afters, and then it was like, okay, it's time for teardown, and it's like, okay, who's gonna tear down? It's like, oh, that's gonna be me. That's gonna be me. That's gonna be Nathan. That's gonna, there's like four of us, and the lighting company, they're gonna tear down, but otherwise, I'm gonna have to tear all this down. And so I was there for 2 hours, taking down the speakers, moving tables, like just massive grunt work. And so you still have this high from the performance, but and then it kind of clicked in my head, like, okay, we're there, but we're also not quite there. Like there's still elements that, God, this is a ton of work for this. Like, and I did all the work going up into it, the marketing, making the reels, making the music for the reels, making the, just the emails, the writing, blah, 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 like all the coordination and stuff. And it's like, that's a real challenge. And I think that the amount of work that I've put into Under the Trees has been, honestly, like, I don't even know. It's been crazy, like absolutely crazy. Like the amount of money that I've made from Under the Trees is zero. And the amount of time I put in is just like so far beyond. But, it's hard to quantify that thing in terms of money alone. I mean, we're in the entertainment industry. That's different from like accounting or I don't know, like some less fun thing. Like it's super fun when an event works out well. It's just like incredible, and I see the joy and so forth. And so it's hard to quantify the value of some of these things. And so I suppose the growing pains have just been figuring out how to make these events that like have Under the Trees grow. I mean, again, at the very beginning, I was delusional about how much things would cost, and the first year I was in the red, and on the outside it doesn't look like that because you see full events, it's like, oh great, they're killing it, and Tom's in his at home swimming in his money bed.
Of course,
right? And some people thought that it's like, oh, he's taking advantage of blah blah blah, and I'm like, man, if only you knew, like, the amount of like, I have to keep this thing running because now it's become a machine, and now it's paying people, and not, and so it's not easy. And this from starting a business. Like there are times, and I think when it's everything's running well and it looks great from the outside, but then you have all these bills that you got to pay that to get the place running in the first place, and yeah, so it's not easy. I'm still learning, honestly. I don't think I've figured it out. Uh, and we'll see where it goes. Like things could change if investors come in or other big players come in and want to see this go in different directions. And the kind of Space Banana, I mean, I sort of have like 4 projects. I got the Space Banana project, the Under the Trees project, Dr. Tom, now another one, Posen, so my own music projects, and then I'm a professor of music. And so it's like, how do I balance all this? Where do I put my time? And I don't know the answer to that.
It's hard, right? They're all kind of in the same umbrella, but they're all so vastly different.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
different.
And sometimes they work really well together, and then other times I'm like, man, I'm just really busy.
Yeah, it's the dilemma of choice, right?
Yeah.
If you could, I mean, I'm sure you've thought about it, like going all in on one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you could go all in on Under the Trees and have that be like your full-time gig,
Yeah.
would you wanna go for that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've struggled to come to that. Like would I go on all in on my music project? I don't know. I seem to like. Often what happens is I make a track, I'm really excited about it, and then I use that track to help promote Under the Trees because it's not copyrighted and it's not released. And so that there's sort of like a natural path there, and I found a good groove in all of that. Um, and then I play that track out, and I think people hear it, and it's like, oh, I know this track somehow. It's like, oh yeah, it's because it's been in the reels.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's something I need to figure out.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
You still got time, and I feel like things are plugging away.
Yeah.
Man, that's exciting.
Yeah. Thank you.
I got you a present.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Very curious.
Are you?
Yeah.
You got any idea what you? There's no way you'd guess.
I don't think I would guess.
All right, let me get it for you. I need a name for this segment. I've done this before.
Yeah.
Here's our segment. Giving our guest a random thing.
Oh, dang.
There you go. I got you some cereal.
This is my favorite cereal. Did you know that?
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's just lucky guess.
Really? That's insane. No, seriously. Like, this is the cereal I always get. And I add maple to it, so I don't buy the maple one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
When are you normally eating that cereal?
You know, I'm a nighttime cereal guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Usually around 1 a.m.
Yeah, like
1:30.
post club or maybe pre club, depends.
Or after. Yeah, both.
Yeah.
So, but late. I mean, during the week, 1 or 2 a.m.
I like it.
Yeah, this is fuel.
When we were setting this up, I texted you. I said, "Hey, is 9 a.m. good?" You said, "That's too early." I was like, 9 a.m. Me, the gym guy, coaching 5 a.m. classes. We're on the different schedule.
Oh man!
But you feel like you do your best work late into the night?
I've always been a night person, and more lately, I talk to so many people, and I say, "Oh yeah, I'm more of a night person," and it's like, "Yeah, I wish I could be a morning person." And I thought, like, man, that would suck to live a life where I'm constantly wishing that I was a morning person. And so I've taken the opposite stance. I'm like, I don't want to deal with the morning. Like, I'm up late. And I mean, I think for morning people and night people, the unified element of both of those is that you have time where there's not other people bothering you. Like, you're not getting emails or phone calls, or it's just your time to do what you need to do. And so for me, that's at night, which goes into the weekend for the clubs and so forth. I mean, the parties and events don't really get started until 12 o'clock at night, Fridays and Saturdays. And so, and then the afters. And so, yeah, I'm up till 2 or 3 most nights by choice. And I get to have that because I'm a professor. So I move my classes later. My classes start at 11, sometimes 3. And honestly, I think it's a good thing because a lot of musicians are playing late night gigs anyway. I teach music classes. So for me, it works. But when I first arrived here, I had classes every day at 8 a.m. And that hurt.
Brutal.
It really hurt.
Brutal.
Yeah. That was tough.
Oh man. The part about having that alone time where you can just be by yourself, and like I'm a morning guy, and so getting up when I don't have any commitments in the morning, and I get 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. or whatever it is just to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I think it's smart that you have listened to your schedule and what you have going on. I know for me personally, when I was DJing, staying up till 2 in the morning, or not even staying up till 2 in the morning, getting done with work at 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Packing up, going home, just cooked, and then trying to go to bed and continue to be a morning person.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It was hard.
Yeah.
I think it's clever that you're just like, nah, I'm a night owl. I'm going to do my thing at night.
Yeah, I think you can get to worm either on the tail end or in the morning,
Yeah, agreed.
So, yeah.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the music you've been working on.
Yeah, so I don't know if a lot of people knew this about me. I mean, I'm a professor of music. My stage name, which is my name, is Dr. Tom, and people were like, "Oh, you're like a medical doctor?" Like, no, I'm not a medical doctor. I have a doctor of philosophy in music theory, but I did my master's in piano, so I was a concert pianist for a little while, and I've studied Beethoven. And I wanted to be a composer, and then somehow I got into electronic dance music. I think, so long story short, I did an undergraduate degree in physics and astrophysics and piano performance, and like the physics component is expressed in audio production and like waveforms and stuff like that. And so I love electronics and turning knobs and those things, and then I love music theory and composing. And so I've tried to basically take deadmau5 style music and some other artists as well, and then take that my study of Beethoven and how he worked, and try to fuse that somehow and make music that honestly I've been playing out and testing it in front of crowds, and it's been working well. So I'm really excited about that. I've only released one track. I don't know why. I have like 2 hours of unreleased music, and I do all original sets, and I love producing, and I want to take it somewhere, but I need to like release music and like do something with it.
Yeah.
But I'm actually starting another project called Posen, which is my last name, which is kind of I don't know. The Dr. Tom thing is very like it's just so forward. Like it puts everything forward. I sort of wonder, it gives me an advantage in some ways. Like, okay, here's this producer with a doctorate in music theory. Okay, let's check him out. But then the other one is like, okay, there's this person I don't know, and then maybe if they discover after the fact, like, oh, he also studied Beethoven and stuff. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Like as a side quest of like, oh, I like the music. Oh, it turns out there's more behind it. Oh, cool. Rather than like front loading I don't know. I don't know which one's gonna work, but I'm sort of gonna explore both of those angles and um, see what happens. I guess I don't know. I'm pushing it. I mean, fundamentally, all this is happening because I wanted to be a musician, but I didn't want to be a poor, starving musician. So I thought, okay, one way to do that would be to become a professor of music and work, teaching music, which I love to do, and research and so forth. And then that would enable me to be an artist and create without the constraint of having to make money from that. So that's kind of the goal. I don't know what that's going to look like, and I need to like probably integrate some of my piano abilities. I've kept them pretty separate for the time being, and so forth. But yeah, when I first started, I would put my tracks in with a bunch of other tracks and just kind of see what happens, And then if it's a flop, it's like, oh, it's on my track. But if it is, yeah, next. But if it went well, I was like, okay, awesome. Like my track works right next to Deadmau5's track. Like people like it, cool. And then last year, year and a half ago, I realized like actually, maybe people don't know that I'm playing my own music, and so I thought, okay, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna be a little vulnerable, and I'm gonna just do an all original set. I'm just gonna tell people like this is all my music, like take it or leave it, and judge me however you want. And it went really well. And then I did it again at Treefort. Now I almost do that like all the time now. And so, but now I'm kind of going the other direction. Like this weekend, I'm gonna play something that has none of my tracks, and so I'm just kind of like exploring all of that. DJing is strange, compared to other forms of music. Like if you're in a band, you can play covers, but it still sounds like your band, right? But
That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah, but most DJs are not playing anything they've made. They just play. They're kind of curators and diggers, and there's different DJing styles and so forth. So anyway, I don't know. I'm exploring that.
I like it. That's nice. That is cool that you've created a platform with Under the Trees where you can like you've made a service where you can test your product just right inside of it, which is there's so much synergy there. That's so nice.
No, it's true. And I can envision the crowd too when I'm making stuff and what they might react like. And now that I've played out in front of people, enough. And like I make specific things for that event. So like our last one, I built this like intro. It uses Carmina Burana's O Fortuna, and it has this. So George Bizet, he's a composer, and it has like this saying. It's like we are under the trees, and it's like it's, huge. So and I think that's really special. Like this isn't happening anywhere else. It's happening right here in Boise. At 9:00, and I think that's really special.
That's cool. Man, where do you see Under the Trees going forward these next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? What's the road for Under the Trees?
Well, it's a great question, and it'll depend in part on Space Banana. But I think the original vision that I had was again Picnic Electronic and Igloo Fest, and I had this like build up phase towards that. The first park party was honestly like phase 5, and what I had planned for the first park party was maybe like phase 2, and so it went from phase 2 to 5 like in the week. And I mean so extreme. Like I had the first Under the Trees party was planned as a private party with the city, with the Boise Parks and Rec. So private party means that like the restrictions, and like it's a different set of permits. There's different rules. And what happened is 3 days before the first event, Boise Parks and Rec called me and they said, "This is not a private party." And I said, "What do you mean? Like it's invite only, it's," and they said, "But we've seen your marketing, like this is going to be huge." And I was like, "Okay, so what do you need me to do?" And they're like, "Well, you have to file it now as a special event, not a private party." I'm like, "Okay, well, what does that mean?" And it's like, "Well, you need $1 million liability insurance. You need blah, 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 blah. Like, all these things." And I'm like, "Or you have to cancel the event." And, the cat's out of the bag. Like, the marketing's already happened. And so I was like, "Oh my God." So I called all these insurance companies. I got event liability insurance. I mean, I buttoned it up like literally in 2 days. And thank God, and then the actual event itself, I mean, 300 people showed up. Like, it blew my mind as to how fast it went. And so it just sort of changed everything. And so now I kind of know how it goes. But one day I'd like to have a big festival. And so Tree Fort is an inspiration. That happens in March. I would like to see a EDM focused festival. But the question I have in my head is, should it be once, like a 1 week thing, or should it be smaller and twice a month? And
Mm.
I don't know the answer to that at the moment. As you get bigger, everything gets more complicated. If you get to 1,000 people, the city requires that you have an ambulance on site. Like the costs, you have to have police on site, and they're very expensive per hour. So everything just gets more complicated very quickly, and that probably would need to be my full-time job, or I would need to have someone to do all that. And so I'm not ready to sacrifice my job as a professor, and so I kind of have to just balance that. So probably it's gonna be once every 2 months, maybe once a quarter, and the summer more active because the parks is just so fun.
It is.
So yeah,
Yeah, I think you're pretty spot on with that. Seems like you thought through that pretty thoroughly with running
yeah,
like one huge event
mm-hmm.
would be so cool. And I think it would
Yeah,
be a blast.
yeah,
But I do think you're right in that you need quite a bit of help. I know just from running my House on High Rocks event a
yeah,
couple weeks ago, I was almost too big for my britches there.
yeah,
We were pushing the limits of what me and I had a couple people helping with events team, and was pushing the limits. And
yeah,
it was like, ooh, that could have went bad.
yeah,
Everything went smoothly. Everything went very smoothly. But anything bigger, I would have been in trouble.
yeah,
And that's like all it takes is one bad event or one accident to happen to
yeah,
to
exactly.
put a little tarnish on whatever you're doing. And
Yeah,
so I think treading carefully there and approaching it with caution is the best move.
yeah, I think so too. And the bigger you go, the more money is there, but also the more risk. And again, I've just constantly seen in Boise that sometimes it's a big city and it's like, wow, there's a ton of people. And then sometimes I'm like, where is everybody? Where'd you go? Like, what happened? Downtown's dead. Like, what the heck? And then sometimes it's the opposite. And so I just have to remember that it's a growing city, but it's not a major metropolitan like Montreal, New York, or Chicago, or LA. It's not there yet, and there's signs of it, but yeah,
Yeah, I think we're pacing forward. I think Space Banana came at the right time. I think you came at the right time with Under the Trees.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I think the expansion of the space has been great. I haven't been there yet. I'm excited
You
to
should
go
go.
and check it out.
Yeah, I'm playing this Saturday,
Are you? Nice.
but
Okay.
it's late.
Understood.
Might be past your bedtime.
It will be. Yeah.
Yeah, I respect that.
Nice, man. Okay, say I go back to school and I sit down in one of Dr. Tom's classes. What's Dr. Tom Lee classroom looking like?
Yeah, man, I'm having a blast. So at the College of Idaho, it's a small private liberal arts college, and it's been a great fit for me because at a bigger school, I would be one of a couple music theorists teaching classes. At the College of Idaho, I am the music theorist teaching the class,
Mm.
and they let me define the curriculum. And so what that ultimately means is that I get to create really fun, cool classes. So I have a class called electronic dance music. So I teach everybody how to produce in Ableton. I teach DJing. And then we read about some of the culture, like we read about festivals or artists and stuff like that. And so And then at the end of the final exam was to make a remix of a track. So we split vocals out of another track, and then the other part of the final exam was to submit a fully produced track.
Wow.
So
that's so cool.
Yeah. So like, and it's, we build up to it, right? Like we make drum loops, and then we make synth loops, and then we make builds, and then we make drops. And so I teach them along the way, and I was so happy with the results this semester. And then the other class I teach is called Go Viral. It's called Music, Multimedia, and Marketing. And so it's kind of really what we do is we watch Reels and TikToks in class and analyze them and be like, why is this so effective?
College.
Yeah. And really trying to figure out like what's so interesting about this. I mean, we watched some of your videos, the one where you have the baby in the door.
You watched that in class?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And the one where you're jumping on a table, and so yeah, and they're really effective. And so bring it in front of the class, like, why does this work? And then can we try some other things, you know? And then I teach music production class, and then I classical music theory. Yeah, and so I teach the traditional stuff too, like, you know, Mozart, Beethoven, Haydn, that type of stuff. But I'm getting to go into these new realms with electronic dance music and sound design, and you know, how do we make sounds and stuff like that. And so that's really fun. And this is the other part of the under the trees where everybody's welcome, because my students will come to my sets.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And people kind of are like, how do you feel about that? Like, it's in the club. And it's like, well, what's wrong with the club? You know, it's like, well, people are, you know, drinking and stuff. It's like, well, yeah, but if you're responsible, you know, like I have a good relationship with my students. And ultimately I want them to come to my set, have a great time, and then show up in class when they need to show up. Like, I'm going to show up, you know, we're both going to show up. Like we have lives. Like we do other things besides presenting in a certain way. And so I want them to come to my class because they want to learn, not because I have authority over them and, you know, will take 10 points off their attendance grade or whatever. And so that's been really, really great, actually, having, and then I can, you know, start my EDM class like, here's a show I just did. And it's like, oh, he's actually doing it, you know? And so it's not just theoretical. I think a lot of professors are kind of out in theory land, and I'm guilty of that too. Sometimes I studied music theory, for God's sake, but I like this sort of, like, I'm out in the world doing it, and I'm also in the classroom. That's important to me.
Yeah, you don't want to be the fat PE teacher, you know?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
You don't want to be the fat PE teacher. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You're no, I think that's sweet. If I was at the club and my professor was behind the decks playing, I'd be like, hey, that's my professor right there. Like, I'll see you on Monday. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, make sure you turn in your assignment on time. And,
right.
You know.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I think it's cool that you're helping with the social media side of things too, which Under the Trees crushes on Instagram.
Thank you.
What does that look like? Kind of building that up, and I know you guys do like comment, and we'll DM you, and kind of what are your Instagram tactics? Because you've been doing a great job at that.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I realized at some point that if you either get on the Instagram train or everybody else will, and you'll lose. I mean, not really. That's what it comes down to. And so the idea I had in my head was, how do I get people? Because I was just looking around myself, and everybody's on their phone all the time. And
all the time.
What are they doing? Typically scrolling on something, whether it's TikTok or Instagram. And so it's like, how do you get into that space? Like, how do you get into someone's phone, right? And so that was the thing. I don't know. I always had like an interest in editing videos, and so I started to edit videos, and I use my music. So I kind of make sort of music videos, I guess, and then overlaying text. And I just, you know, again, I really didn't know what I was doing when I started, but I figured like, okay, I'm going to cut on beat. I'm going to make interesting visuals and stuff. And now I've made hundreds of reels, and I've learned so much from that process of doing it. I've gotten a lot faster. I mean, it used to take me 10 to 20 hours to make a reel.
Whoa.
I mean, yeah, I was just slow, and I just didn't know, I didn't have a good work process. And now, you know, I can put it together in a couple hours, but I have infrastructure. I mean, I have a 80 terabyte server at home. We have professional cameras. We have drone shots. I mean, I have a whole catalog of music. Like, it, you know, it's grown big time. And now I kind of have a better idea about what works. So our last two reels, we have around 40,000 views for this event. So we have each. So we have like, we're approaching 100,000 views for this event. Like I think it's gonna be a banger. And so then there's automation because in the early days I would respond to every single comment, and like
Doing
the
the
first
dirty
couple
work.
events, yeah, and I would send them every single person the location, and so I wanted authentic human connection, and then it's just gotten to the point where there's 600 comments and like I just can't, you know what I mean?
That's why you're up till 4 a.m. every day, dude.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
responded to
Yeah,
DMs.
well, but I still try. There's a team that manages it now, and I wanted to, if someone sends a question, I try to respond. But it's just gotten so big that it's really hard to, it's like someone asks, where's the event? It's like, okay, well, you should have watched the reel. Like the reel tells you how to find the event. Like you need to comment, you need to do this to get the event. But there was a lot of counterintuitive things. Like I remember some people asked me like, how do I get a ticket to the trees? It's like, well, you have to like be on our guest list. And like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you making it hard to buy a ticket? And it's like, well, that's the point. Like this is a special exclusive thing. Like you have to go out and find it. It's like a treasure. And that for some people was extremely counterintuitive. And like, why don't you tell people where the location is? Like, don't you want people to know where it is? It's like, well, yes, but also no. Like I, like there's this interesting thing about it. And so, yeah, Under the Trees shares the time, the date, a lot of details about it, but does not publicly share the location typically. Like when we advertise the penitentiary, it's like, okay, yeah, that's where it is. And so that kind of sells itself. But generally speaking, we don't advertise the location. And so that part is kept secret. If it's a ticketed event, it's actually on the ticket itself. So, and Under the Trees does some things that nobody else does. That's one of them. The second thing is that Under the Trees doesn't say who's going to play at the events.
I like that.
And the reason is that you go for the Under the Trees. You go for the Under the Trees experience. Like you just trust that if it's an Under the Trees event, it's going to be a good event, and it's going to be different DJs. I'll play every other, every third event, and then otherwise it's a new, fresh lineup. And I do my best with some others to make good lineups and so forth. And so, but that's very different. Typically artists sell, right? Like you book a headliner and then people go to that headliner. But that's not how Under the Trees works. Under the Trees has a brand that's so consistent, and people like the event enough that they're going to go even without knowing who's going to be at the event.
And I think that filters out the people that you don't want to be there anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that guy who you hit up to hang out. He's like, oh, well, who's coming?
yeah.
Like, dude,
Yeah.
just come. Like,
Yeah.
just come. If you don't want to come, don't come.
Exactly.
No, I think that's cool that you don't tell people the location. It does add a layer of like mystery and a little bit of like, oh, where's it gonna be?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I thought about that too. Like, would I buy a ticket to a place I don't even know where it is? And I think the answer is yes. If there's a track history of this company doing successful, fun events, then yes, I would buy a ticket and be surprised by it.
Yeah, I think people need a little bit of people need that in their lives too. A little bit of mystery, a little bit of what's gonna happen, who's gonna be there, what am I gonna bump into. I think that keeps things fresh for people too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Dude, it's been a great chat. What
yeah, thanks for
what does Under the Trees got going on? How can people get a hold of Under the Trees? How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so good. So yeah, underthetrees.boise on Instagram. That's the engine. And then they can join our guest list, and that gives them emails, and the emails, like if you're on the guest list, you get earlier access to tickets before they sell out through Instagram and so forth. So yeah, underthetrees.boise. Definitely, if you're interested in EDM, go check out Space Banana, the Space. They're connected. So on 8th and Bannock. And that's another cool thing. At Space Banana, you enter through an alleyway. It's not a front-facing property. It's kind of a speakeasy nightclub. I love that. Very similar to Under the Trees, ethos. And then for my own project, it's drtom.music on Instagram. And that's probably the best place. I have a website and other stuff, but Instagram is probably the easiest to contact. And so But yeah, definitely check out the Under the Trees.
Cool. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's nice reconnecting with you in this way. Again, I mentioned earlier in the podcast, Brian was one of the first. I don't even know how it happened. You must have reached out on Instagram or something. It was like, hey, because you were DJing, and it was like, hey, I want to like, what are you guys doing? I want to be a part of this. And I remember you came to the very first parked sound check. Which when I look at that sound check now, I'm like, oh my god, I just it was so small and tiny compared to what it became.
Mm-hmm.
But you were there for that, so I appreciate that. And he played at the third park party, I believe, Ann Morrison.
Yeah.
And
Good memory.
Yeah, and yeah, I remember that phase, and then watching you start your company and the success of that, and so it's been a real pleasure watching that from your side. So. And now this podcast, and like we'll see. I mean, Boise is this like melting pot. Like we're all pushing. It's a new frontier. So let's just make it a fantastic place.
Agreed. Rock on, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cut.